Welcome to another episode of the Smiles Ahead podcast, community style, where we bring somebody in from the community, an entrepreneur, a small business owner, somebody that just makes our community smile. And we are no different here. We have Bigfoot in the house, basically. So tell me a little bit about what's going on with the company, with what you started, and just kind of start with your story is basically how we do it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me so much. I really appreciate the opportunity and getting to talk to your listeners and your customers and the Charlotte community at large. It's great to be here, so thank you. Bigfoot Kick is a wild name, kind of a wild company, and just to kind of give a little background on how we got started, it's kind of maybe three phases. The first is a little bit of the inspiration and idea of how it came together, and then the second phase is how we kind of put it together to make it actionable in the marketplace, and then maybe the third is how we're starting to evolve our product. So it all started on Netflix. One night I was binge watching Cobra Kai, big fan of that show, nice. And was just 3 or 4 episodes in a row one night, and it started transporting me back to when I was a kid, and I'm an 80s kid, so I was big into Karate Kid and Back to the Future and just starting to get into the Star Wars and Indiana Jones, and started me on this nostalgic, reminiscing path of what else did I love growing up, which was, video games and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Street Fighter. And then I was big into hip hop growing up. So especially East Coast, Wu-Tang Clan, Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul. And I started thinking about what I wanted to be when I grew up, which was a zoologist. I didn't want to be a fireman or a sports star. I mean, obviously I would have loved to have been a hand-eye patience for that. So I wanted to be a zoologist. I was big into animals. I was big into the environment and learning about how ecosystems worked. And I was particularly interested in mythical creatures that may or may not exist. So Loch Ness Monster, I was convinced that I was going to grow up and travel to Scotland, camp out on the loch, and be the one to discover the Loch Ness Monster. That didn't happen. Big into Bigfoot, obviously, and aliens and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of the spirit of what I was thinking. And this phrase, Bigfoot Kick, came into my head because I was watching Cobra Kai, martial arts, and thinking about all these creatures and animals and stuff. And a couple weeks went by, and I couldn't get the phrase out of my head. Right. I just thought it was funny. I thought it was catchy, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. But the name Bigfoot Kick kind of stood out to me. So I thought, what does this mean? What can I do with it? And as I was thinking about all those things that I liked growing up, it's kind of eclectic, from zoology to hip hop to video games to, being interested in also like world history and things like that. It's very different. And it started making me feel like we can get put into boxes as humans. I'm a marketer by day, or your profession. We're defined a lot of times by what we do on it to earn money, or we're usually boxed into one or two things. And I felt like for me, I'm a lot of different things, and I've been a lot of different things, a lot of different points in my life. I've evolved and changed, and so I wanted to find a way to represent kind of that journey that we go on, which to me felt kind of like searching for Bigfoot. It's a journey. It's sometimes cool. Crazy. It's different. You're looking for something, you might not find it. And to me, there was really one way to really visualize that the most, which is apparel, because I feel like we're really personalized by what we choose to wear and showcase to the world. And so that's when I started to think about this could be an apparel company and kind of showcase that.
That's cool. Yeah, I know. It's funny you talk about the nostalgia of looking back, and I just got offered a Instagram ad. I don't know if you remember the company Wilson. They did a bunch of tennis stuff and
and
Prince
Hanks,
and Wilson,
right?
and all that stuff. And so Wilson the ball, exactly. And they just hit it back with like some throwback apparel and some new little logo, but it looked old school, and it was just like I was like, oh, that's so awesome. And I know that Fila and some of these older companies that felt like they were our generation growing up are reamping, and it's kind of getting all us excited. Yeah. So I think that's a really cool space. Now, I know that having an idea, I have a lot of them that I never even take action on, but taking that action and actually putting yourself out there, because being an entrepreneur is a huge risk, even with anything. when was the step where you were like, hey, this is Bigfoot Kick. This is a fun, cool idea. It's going to be close. It's going to be this. When was the first time you're like, I'm going to take action and get some stuff printed, collab with some artists, some graphic designers? Tell me how that whole process.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good one because, there's an idea a minute and taking it to action is difficult. So I think the first part was, it was during the pandemic. So I had more time at home, more extra time than I usually would have had in a day job or career to be able to think through how to take the right action steps. And I think it started with a lot of research of how viable is this? What are the costs associated with creating something and getting it out to market, and thinking through, who would I be targeting? How would I find customers? Would anybody care? Would anybody be interested? Luckily, my career, I'm in marketing. That's what I do for a day job. And I knew a lot of creative, talented people just over the last 2 decades. So it was, talking to a lot of those people that I've shared a lot of foxholes with in the marketing world, trying to figure out like how we could do this creatively. I spent a lot of time looking for artists that I felt kind of their style and the way they approached the creative space matched what was in my head. And so I put some feelers out there. I talked to an artist in Austin, Texas. His name is Nathan Walker. He runs an awesome company, and he's worked with big brands like New Balance and Timberland. It's funny. I was in London, and I was passing a Timberland store and saw his artwork in the Timberland store in London. So that's kind of a cool little meta thing. But we talked. He was excited about it, and just being able to put some ideas out there and see it get fleshed out. A lot of market research, and then just trying to learn the fashion industry, I think was kind of where I was at. And then once all those pieces came together, this was a low barrier to entry from a cost perspective to get started in the fashion space. And then being able to find like-minded creative people that were excited about it, I think pushed me over the edge. I think probably had I gone to some artists or some talented people that I know in my network, and they were like, "It's dumb," or not interested, might have put some lukewarm water on it. I probably still would have maybe gotten there. But I think having a circle of people that can really inspire you as well, that's what I wanted. Because after 20 plus years in marketing, I spend a lot more time with accountants and lawyers than I do the creative side of it. And so
getting back to your roots.
Getting back to that was really exciting and refreshing and inspirational.
That's cool. I know that the Bigfoot thing's always fun. The Bigfoot aliens, the Loch Ness Monster, all that cool stuff. Now, do you do any, have you done any fun things where maybe with the company y'all go do I know that they've had a lot of cool commercials with Sasquatch and what was the one, Messing with Sasquatch? And, I think like a lot of, it's still something that's very talked about in our, so it's just one of those fun things where you can kind of just see the emblem and kind of know what you're talking about. In terms of, branching out with the actual clothing, you said learning the clothing industry. I know a big thing for you is comfort, too. I would mention. Did you have a good time, finding what you felt was comfortable, the fits that you liked? How was that process?
Yeah, that was painstaking.
Because
I think when you create a clothing company, especially one that's maybe more graphic T-shirts, there's a plethora of companies that do a lot of different styles. You have your Bella Canvas, you have your Next Level, you have your Comfort Colors, Champion. You can go to all kinds of screen printers. There's some awesome ones locally here in Charlotte. Shout out to McFly over at Camp North End. They do a great job, and they've partnered with me from time to time. And so I literally had piles and piles of clothes that I tried on, trying to get that right fit for my brand. And we were able to kind of land on some ones that I felt had a good fit, washed well. That was important to me. If you wash it and it doesn't shrink, or it's not ruined after the first time you try to clean it. It was universally accepted for both genders and all body types and sizes. So to be as inclusive as possible was important to me. And we were able to find a few of those through that process. I think as we've evolved, we've started, and as I've learned more about just the industry and myself, I've been able to work with manufacturers to create custom stuff for just me, which has been really good.
That's cool.
It moves away from that fast fashion, which can leave a big economic footprint that's not so great, and be more honed in on something that's more limited edition, small batch, and custom creative to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we think about it all the time. Even though we're in orthodontics, we try to make it a little bit fun. So you get braces. We do the T-shirts and we do some swag and stuff like that. So we'll have to figure out a way to get Bigfoot in some braces and do it. I'll have to use your creativity, and we'll come up with something to get something going on there. I always like to ask entrepreneurs like yourself. I know that taking the action, like you were saying, is the most important. So whenever young people or even older people are asking me about our business, and I'm like, you know what? You're not going to know everything. You're going to get some setbacks. It's not a continuous, you go from here and up the hill. It's this big circle of you figure it out, then you can't figure it out, and you do it again. Was there a time when you were like, hey, this is going to be real? The company is made. I'm doing great here. Versus like, hey, this is a good idea. I dabbled into it a little bit, or did you just go full steam and you're like, no matter what, this is going to be?
Yeah, that's a good question. I definitely am not at a point where I feel like I've arrived. Or
so you're waiting for the moment.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that. That's but cool. I do think like in that process, there was a moment where I just said I'm gonna bet on myself. There's been times where I've wanted to create a company. Like right before the pandemic, I was really strongly considering doing marketing consulting and in that world, and I had lined up some potential clients, and then the pandemic happened and all budgets and all things went away. So that was a difficult time because I thought like, oh, this was it. Like I was going to go out on my own and do my own thing. And then there were outside forces that happened. And this one felt like I'm not going to let anything stop me this time. Yeah. And, no matter if it flops or fails or becomes successful, I'm going to bet on myself just because I think this is going to be really fun.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a decision of like, I think this is going to make a ton of money, right, or I think this is going to end up in Bloomingdale's or Dick's Sporting Goods. Like I just felt like this was going to be fun, and I personally needed it. I needed that outlet. And so that was what really moved me to the next stage. I think when I started to really realize like I have something here were two things. I had started doing some local pop-up markets here in Charlotte, in South End, and at some breweries, and just having people come over and interact with my stuff in person. Because when you sell online, you don't get that interaction. Yeah. And so I was selling online, but I never knew what people thought of it. People would leave reviews, but it wasn't like this instant, wow, this is really cool, or hey, this feels different than the other booth that I just came from. Like, how did you do this? I started to realize like I might have something here.
Yeah.
And then the second one was I had partnered with Urban Outfitters.
Oh, nice.
South Park Mall, with their local like community organizer, for the local store, and was able to set up in Urban Outfitters for a collection that I did with this artist out in Portland. And to have my stuff in Urban Outfitters around all these other national big brands.
Exactly, yeah.
And people didn't know me from Adam, and they come in, see my stuff, and buy it.
Right.
It was invigorating. It was like, wow, this can actually happen. People can come into a retail store that is as prominent as Urban Outfitters with other brands as prominent as Nike and Marketplace and all these graphic tees and still buy my stuff. And I had a pretty good day there, which was really awesome. So I think that gave me the confidence again to say, this could be something.
I got something here that people want. Yeah, I think it's, we interact with the patients and do more virtual stuff too, but there's just no comparison when you see someone in person. Like for us, when they first get their braces off, to physically see that smile, see that when you're selling your T-shirts, they physically, like you said, pick it up. And then they can give you feedback like, oh, hey, this is so much softer than this one, or hey, how'd you get this fit? And you're like, well, they like that, they don't like this. So that's really cool.
It's invaluable to get that kind of human interaction with it, especially as an e-com brand where it's all digital transactions, but being able to see people interacted, or like you said, see people their whole life transform because you're able to help improve their smile and just the way they feel about themselves, and that's invaluable to see that.
Yeah, and I think you'd mentioned before, but I like to tell, again, young entrepreneurs that are asking for advice, having that, it's not just a, hey, I can do this, and if it works, it works. Sometimes it's a grind of, hey, I got to, keep a day job while I'm hustling on the side here, get that bigger. So there's no real shortcuts to any of this, right?
No, I think the shortcuts are super rare. I've worked in startups. I've been around other entrepreneurs. And I mean, it's super rare. I think the sensationalized stories of going from like 0 to $1 million is super rare, but it's sensationalized, so it thinks that it's easy.
Right.
I think the day-to-day grind is what is more common, and failing and failing and failing, and then seeing some success, and then seeing some success, and then failing again. And it's a roller coaster. It's ups and downs, and I think that's why, for me at least, and for future entrepreneurs out there, it's the why you do it more so than the what you get from it. And for me, again, it was about invigorating myself, about creative passion, and being around talented people and working with talented artists in ways that I wasn't able to do anymore for the money that I earned. And that is what keeps me coming back, is because that's the exciting part. Obviously, you got to make money to keep it going. But if it's just about the money, then I would be on to the 5th or 6th idea at this point. And so you find something you love, you find something that really drives you creatively and you're passionate about, and you can tweak that along the way to find the revenue or to match it up with the consumer. But the love of what you do is what I think keeps you going after the failures.
Yeah, I totally can agree with that from someone that with orthodontics, same way, just different avenues. But, if you go in and we like to say, skip to work a little bit, and you're excited about what you're doing, it really makes a difference in terms of the result that you're going to get for your customer, for our patients, that type of stuff. So it's great to hear you give that feedback on, hey, the money will come or not come, but the passion is there. And that typically is where the success follows when you hear, because every, startup entrepreneurship is going to have those ultimate fails. And can you learn from them, or are you going to give up and go to the next thing because you don't really have a passion for that? So that's really cool insight. I know you're a busy guy, so I won't keep you too much longer, but is there anything up on the forefront now, or are you just kind of trying to push what we have going now? What's next for Bigfoot Kick?
I think we have some exciting things coming up this year and the next year. Like I said, we've evolved from, or we've grown from sort of the faster fashion where we're just finding a really good blank. And again, nothing wrong with that model. I think it works for a lot of people. But for me, we're moving into, we're also doing creative graphics, but we're doing creative garments.
Oh, cool.
So it's more than just T-shirts now. And I think we're working on, what the next level of garments we can do. Like maybe it's a sweater, maybe it's a bubble jacket, maybe it's a vest. I think we're going to start working a lot more with different textures and trying to just continue to stand out in unique and fun ways. For us is what's coming up. And then continuing to expand across the U.S. We do well in Charlotte, but we ship all over the U.S. I think we've shipped to customers in every state at the moment, so including Hawaii and Alaska, which has been really awesome to see. And I think just continuing to grow that. I would love also, a bigger retail experience. We are, a little plug, going to be launching in Southern Lyon at Carolina Place Mall this spring when that opens. So we're really excited about that. We're going to have our own retail space there. So just continuing to partner with really fun, exciting people and continue to grow creatively and find new ways to surprise people. That's really what we're about. Because if you were in the woods and you were searching for a creature that you didn't know existed and it stumbled upon you, it would be really scary and surprising. And so I don't know that we want to scare people, but we definitely want to surprise people in a fun and exciting way.
Well, that's cool. Like I said before, what we might do is maybe do a little contest. Who comes up with the best braces Bigfoot Kick, and then we'll collab with you, make some T-shirts. I know that we're always looking for fun, fresh ideas. So we really appreciate you coming on. Good luck with everything. We'll put everything in the show notes about your business, where to find you, all that good stuff. And do you have social? Is that?
Yeah, we're on Instagram. Find Bigfoot Kick is our Instagram handle. We don't do a whole lot of other social. we do have a website, bigfootkick.com, where you can go and see all our latest styles and catch, and then definitely sign up for our email newsletter on the website because we have special deals from time to time for our customers. So
sweet.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll put that link on there. And again, thanks for joining us, and thanks for listening to another episode of the Smiles Ahead podcast. And we will see you next week. Thanks for listening to the Smiles Ahead podcast, powered by Burrow, Welchel, and Culp Orthodontics. Be sure to leave a rating, hit that subscribe button, and if you have more questions, you can reach out to me directly at sam@bwcortho.com. That's sam@bwcortho.com. You can also visit our website, bwcortho.com, and we will be happy to answer any questions you might have.